What is up, everybody? In today's video we are going to go over everything that you will need to K-swap your E30 BMW. All that in today's episode. My name is Ryan. This is Project Race Car. Let's get into it. So about a week ago, it was my birthday, and I was fortunate enough to get a new camera for my birthday. So that is super awesome. I hope you guys can tell the difference. I know that it looks a lot better than just doing it on my phone, so that's been what I've been using for the last year and a half. So that is very good. I'm super excited about it, and I hope that it can boost the channel quality and that we can all keep grinding together. But in the last video you guys saw me clean the engine bay. It is looking so much better in here. You can actually see the subframe. There's a little bit of just like work that I want to continue to do in here, but all in all it looks pretty decent. But like I said, I did want to kind of go over everything that you will need to K-swap a BMW or any mainly rear-wheel drive setup BMW. And it's pretty simple. It's really basic. It's kind of a little bit expensive, but at the same time, any engine swap and doing this is going to be expensive in some way. Okay, naturally you will first need an engine. You can do a K20, K24, either or. I'm going with the K24A2 out of an Acura TSX. It has the biggest output in terms of power. It is probably the most stout out of them from my understanding. I am no K-series expert, but that is the engine that I'm going with. And I also decided to pair it with a ZF BMW transmission. You can also use the stock E30 getrag 260 transmission. I didn't have that one. Mine is an M42, but most 6-cylinder BMW E30s will have the getrag 260, which will be able to support 450 wheel horsepower. So once you decide the engine and transmission setup, then you will look for what company has which, right? And there are two main companies that are selling K-swap for the E30. And one of them is going to be K-Power Industries. The second one is Tollgate Factory and TF Works. I'll link both of them in the description down below. Both of them have good parts. They're good companies, and we'll have the whole swap kit for the E30. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just go over a basics parts list of what you will need. Okay, first off, you are going to need an oil pan that fits the K24 that clears the front subframe. So it converts it to the rear-wheel drive setup. It makes it a front sump. You will also need an oil pump out of an Acura RSX. So the K20 oil pump, it's a common mod for the K24 TSX engine. You will also need the motor mounts and the motor bushings, which also come in a separate kit. Both companies sell them. Once you have that, the engine will be able to go into the car. Okay, so you will also need an adapter plate that will connect the ZF transmission or getrag 260 to the K24. Once you have that, you will also need the flywheel and a clutch system. Both companies will sell a separate flywheel and clutch system. And then once that is done, you will be able to throw the transmission inside the car. After that, you will need a engine harness, and then an engine wiring harness, and then you will also need a engine management system. I just recently saw that Link ECU sells a fully plug-and-play K-series standalone ECU, and I think that that is going to be a really, really good setup. So I am most likely going to go with a standalone at this point because I am trying to go with a turbo version. After that, you will need to decide if you are going with a stock or a naturally aspirated or a turbo K-series. Either is good. Naturally, a K24 can get up to 210 horsepower, just naturally aspirated, which is far more than the regular stock E30. So that would be a good amount of power. At the same time, if you are planning to go with a turbo version, Toge Factory has a turbo manifold that clears the E30 front strut housing, and then you just slap a precision turbo on there and finish up the intercooler piping, and then you are all set. But overall, this is a very simple swap. You don't have to modify the chassis at all. You don't have to worry about anything clearing. It's a very small and stout motor. It sits 1 inch below the hood and 1 inch above the subframe. So there is a ton of room in this thing. So to recap, you will need motor mounts, the oil pan, oil pump from the Acura RSX. You will need the clutch, flywheel, and adapter plate, and then you will need a ZF transmission, a getrag 260, and then you will need to decide if you want to do a K24 or K20. Then you will need to do a engine management system, which can be done with hondata or standalone ECU. Like I said, Link ECU just put out a new K-Series one, which is completely plug and play, as well as the harness also adapts directly into the E30 chassis harness. So all the gauges and everything work, and it works together with the ECU. So you don't need to do any sort of crazy gauge cluster or anything like that. Everything will work completely stock. The intake manifold that K-Power Industries supplies actually clears the factory brake booster, so you don't need to worry about that sort of fitment. And then if you are mounting a ZF transmission into the E30, then you will need to figure out the drive shaft, but at the same time you can go to the junkyard and get the front half of a ZF transmission drive shaft, or you can also just order a full new drive shaft setup. So I'm gonna burn that bridge when I get to it and decide from there of which one I am going to actually do. But currently I have some parts ordered for the actual swap, and I am insanely excited for it. And the E30 is really just ready for the actual setup. If you guys need any parts from an E30, I have a couple parts laying around. The exhaust, I have a M42 skid plate, and a couple just bunch of random things. I have solid motor mounts that I can ship out and do that type of thing. So if you guys need anything specific, please let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I can help you guys out in some way. But I personally am just super excited for the swap and getting into it. I've been kind of just trying to slowly take my time with this build because I want to make sure that it is up to the standards that I want. I want to hold myself to a high, clean standard build and not try to rush and get everything done very quickly. So I have been talking to some of the companies, and they have been both very, very responsive about actually helping me out. Again, I will link both of them in the description down below, but I hope this helps you in any way. I will leave a parts list in the description down below as well. And until next time, my name is Ryan. This is Project Race Car. Have an amazing day. Peace.